Hey everyone, I'm going to go over all the money making methods and how much, or for sorrow grinding and how much money an hour they get. Starting off with 50 mil an hour plus is using a dark claymore. Dark claymore is bugged right now and gives 2 times the sorrow it should. So basically, it's by far the best right now. Even without Chimera 5 or looting 5, it outshines every single other item because it completely gives double the drops anything else would. The next thing, so that's at 50 mil an hour, is a Chimera 5 Daedalus X. This is a trick. It's actually not the best thing. And also I'm going to switch over to the armor that you should be wearing for all these tests, which is 3/4 sorrow and a crimson chest plate. If you can't, if you are using a claymore and can easily one tap, you could use full sorrow. I'm not going to because I can't easily one tap, so it would have been a waste to even buy it. But so the next one is a trick using a Chimera 5 Daedalus. Isn't actually good because it's not possible to one tap using anything that doesn't have the crimson set bonus. You can see I'm doing what, 340k, which you can see I'm not maxed for sure, but there's no way that I would be able to over double my damage through kata levels and everything, especially because remember I'm using ancient or renowned. Ancient Reforge isn't actually applying except for on my chest plate. So it really doesn't do anything to have, and a little bit from Withered, but again I have a ton of strength because it's Chimera 5 Daedalus. So I'm going to put on full Crimson just so I'm a little more consistent. You can see it does one tap these ones, but it still uses the Crimson set bonus, which means any of these ones on the wall take multiple hits to kill. Or that one's runic, but you get the picture that all of these need multiple hits. This means your profit actually goes down below even bothering with the Chimera 5 Daedalus. So this is going to be around 18 mil an hour, and it's not recommended because this is the most expensive item possible for this. The next best thing would be Chimera 5, any kind of weapon that you can one tap with, or a Daedalus with Fatal Tempo 1. A Daedalus with Fatal Tempo 1 will get you, with if it's a Dirty Reforge, and you wear, I would say, I'd recommend one piece of Werewolf, and then you could use the full Sorrow. So if you're using a Fatal Temple Daedalus, you'd be using 3/4 Sorrow and a chest plate. This will get you 200 plus Ferocity, which will do 3 hits, plus Venomous and Fire Spect, which will kill it in 1 hit every time. So unlike Crimson, this is 100% consistent. And just demonstrate that with this Axe of the Shredder really quickly. It's not going to one tap, doesn't do as much damage. But once you get a little Ferocity, you can see that Ferocity applies, skill issue. Ferocity applies everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're next to a wall, which is the problem with the Crimson ability. It only works if you're not next to a wall. So any ghost like that one, all of these right here wouldn't get one tapped using Crimson, but using, say, Ferocity, geez, does a lot of damage if you're not one tapping them. With Ferocity, using a item that actually does damage. I don't have a Daedalus Fatal Tempo, but it would make it pretty easy, and you'd be one tapping pretty consistently as well. So that's the same as a Chimera 5 item, and that's about 22 mil an hour. And then we can look at with 4,500 kills an hour, we're gonna be looking at around 33 sorrows. Plus everything else is about 22.2 mil an hour. That's not counting leveling the G-Drag, which would give another about 7 to 8 mil an hour. Well, actually 6 mil an hour it seems. Prices went down. So extra 6 mil an hour from a G-Drag, which ends up being 28 mil. You can just add 6 mil to all the methods listed so far. They'll get pretty much the same kills an hour plus the G-Drag. So the first one would be, 56 mil an hour if you had a claymore. Pretty insane. Next best method, in my opinion, is going to be using Mastiff with the Pooch Sword. This is because this is now saying you're not able to one tap at all, and you need the damage. So with this setup, you won't die, and you can run around with no worries, hitting everything. It's pretty solid. This is for people that 2 tap to 3 tap. It's about the same as Crimson, but way less effort. The next thing, and it's going to be around, probably around 17 mil an hour, 16 mil an hour, if you have a G-Drag. I'm assuming you don't for this, so it's probably closer to 10 mil an hour for this, which is still pretty good, but not nearly as good. The next best thing is going to be using something where you don't do very much damage at all. So I'm gonna just demonstrate that with the Soul Whip. So what you would be using is a Soul Whip or the Flaming Fist and the Flaming Fist accessory. You go around and you hit everything, and that's going to aggro a ton of ghosts. So you aggro them all, and once you've aggroed a decent amount, you want to group them all together. And then once you've got them grouped, you're just going to do the normal swapping. So then you use Soul Whip swap. You're not going to do as much damage as I am, or you're one tapping them here. But it does allow you to hit quite a few at once, and it makes, even if you only do 100k, plausible. There are better money making methods at that point, because you'd be doing probably down to about, with no G-Drag and everything, 5 mil or so an hour. But it's still fairly good, and I would actually use still Pooch and a Soul Whip if you can, just because you're not going to be dying as much, which is a big problem if you don't one tap. So using Mastiff, Soul Whip, and running around and aggroing them all, maybe around 5-6 mil an hour, which is pretty good, because at that point you're not going to have very good money making methods anyway, and it's a pretty fun one. So I hope this informs some people. Thought it's kind of funny about the Claymore right now getting double drops, and I just want to put that out as well. But then otherwise, it's also interesting with this Chimera 5 Daedalus. I want to put out how it's actually not very good. The other thing is why it's not good is because it's only 9% more magic finds for me, and if you have more bestiary or more magic find in general, the bonus goes down. So for me it's 9% more, but for other people it's even less, which means I have to maintain 91% the same kills an hour as something that can one tap with Chimera for it to be worth it. So if I'm getting 91% the same kills, then that's the exact same profit an hour, but it costs way more, and you have to have a Daedalus for it, versus using a Claymore or a Emerald Blade or something, or a Fatal Temple Daedalus. But anyway, thanks for watching. This was informative. So ghosts, should you do them? Yeah, I think they're fun. They're worthwhile. If you have a G-Drag, definitely worth doing. If you don't, they're still pretty good. You're probably going to be using a Mithril Golem as your pet, which is what I would recommend. And then if you're not sure what to buy and you've never done it before, I'd recommend Mastiff and a Pooch Sword. This is a pretty safe bet because you're probably not going to do a ton of damage if you're not sure what you have anyway. And Mastiff just doesn't let you die a ton, so it's a pretty good start. After that, you probably want to move up to something that 2-taps using Crimson ability, which would be a Giant Sword probably for most people if they don't have enough money for an Emerald Blade. And then the next upgrade after that, if you really want to be budget, would be a Fatal Temple Daedalus. If you want to be smart with your money, because Fatal Temple Daedaluses are probably not a great investment. It's a weird item that works well for this, but doesn't really have any other uses. If it's just like Fatal Temple 1 and no other real enchants, and then like Looting 5. It's fine for mythological, I guess, but other than that, you'd upgrade to a Chimera 5 Emerald Blade or Claymore. I'd say Claymore if you can. And then that's pretty much your max setup. After that, you get a G-Drag, or you go straight to G-Drag. They're about the same profit. So if you're cat at 36 and you just want a Claymore, go for a Claymore, Chimera 5 Claymore. If you just want a G-Drag, get a G-Drag. They both add about the same profit, having Chimera 5 versus G-Drag. And then the final thing is going to be, just maxing out your stats and accessories so that you can use more renowned Legion 5 Sorrow pieces. Because again, if you don't do enough damage, then you can't use full renowned. I can't use full renowned Sorrow, so I'm using 3/4, because if I use full, I won't one tap. So with this, you can see if I have my orbs and stuff down, I'm doing 700k, which is enough usually to one tap if I have my accessories on the correct thing, which they're not. But if I used full Sorrow, I wouldn't have enough damage. So always optimize for one tapping if you're able to, and then otherwise, Claymores are broken right now, and Chimera 5 Daedaluses are not actually good for this because the risk is too high. The amount of kills that you lose due to them being like, all of these are near the walls. Anytime someone comes near to spectate you, anytime if you ever die, anytime you don't kill them in 0.2 seconds because there was a ton that spawned in one corner and you were over here, they will go up the walls. And then it takes you a long time to kill them again. Like 2 to 3 times longer than it would if you're able to one tap. You have to run up, climb the wall for a second, and then hit them like 3 times. So, thanks for watching. Hope this was informative, and happy grinding.